Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, Beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, Saints of all religions, beloved Swamiji, we humbly bow to you all. Divine Mother, bless this meditation. Inspire us to be your joyful instruments, ever willing to share thy light, thy love with all. Om Shanti. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy gurus, Lord. Thinking of thy gurus. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, 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 my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, asana of meditation, of thy guru, lotus feet. Thinking of thy guru, lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy guru, lotus feet. Thinking of thy guru, lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy guru, lotus feet. Thinking of thy guru, lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy guru, lotus feet. 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 Om Tatsavitu Arniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayatu. Om Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Arniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayatu. Om Swaha. Om Tatsavitu Arniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi
yo yo nah prachadayatu. Om Bhurvuvah Swaha Om Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayatu. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhi Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Purvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Purvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Purvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Purvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Purvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyamamritat Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Swaha. O eternal fire of fire. All of come to reveal thyself.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna name, get all the wrong with thy name. Om Lady, Om Lady, Om Lady, Om. 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 I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name. Get all the wrong with thy name, I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name. Get all the wrong with thy name, I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name. Get all the wrong with thy name, I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name. Get all the wrong with thy name. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, my divine mother. Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother, Divine Mother, my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the lotus feet of my Divine Mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the lotus feet of my divine mother. Divine mother, 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 my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Engrossed is the bee of my mind on the blue lotus feet of my divine mother. Om, Om, Om. Now, keeping this inward feeling, listen to the words of Swamiji. This morning, the affirmation is on humility. Humility is not self-deprecation. It is self-forgetfulness. It is knowing that God alone is the doer. It is the realization that nothing in this shadow world of appearances is all that important, except as it draws us closer to the Lord. Never tell yourself that you are sinful or weak or incompetent or lazy, except as such a statement may help you to surrender joyfully to God's power. Then live by that power. Never wear the mask of false humility. Humility is self-acceptance and self-honesty. You have a right to all power if you seek it in infinity, and if you never hold the thought that it resides in your little self. And please affirm with me, I live with thy power, Lord.
I live with thy power, Lord.
What I have is ever thine.
What I have necessary,
ever thine. I live by thy power, Lord. What I have is ever thine, ever thine. A little more quietly. I live by thy power, Lord. What I have is ever thine, ever thine. And now in a whisper, I live by thy power, Lord. What I have is ever thine, ever thine. Now silently, with deep concentration at the point between the eyebrows, I live by thy power, Lord. What I have is ever thine, ever thine. I live by thy power, Lord. What I have is ever thine, ever thine. And now pray silently with me. Thou art the doer, Lord, not I. Express thy perfection through me as I strive ever eagerly to live in thy light. Om Shanti Shanti.
Well, good morning to everyone. This is a joyous time of the month with Lahiri Mahashai's birthday and Mahasamadhi. And so do your very, very best to tune into this incredible soul, this yoga avatar. He said when he was about to leave his body, he said, now I'll spend time with Babaji in the cosmos and Babaji in the Himalayas. And so he's here in Blessed Mother India now as we speak. And so this great soul, it's a good time to thank him deeply within our hearts because he's the one, remember, that was responsible for enticing Babaji to again make Kriya Yoga available to all. And so this is, Lahiri is a dear, dear friend. And from Whispers, entitled Endless Thrills of Delight. I attune my life with thine. Now my life has become a long, unbroken inspiration. Thy fountain of bliss refreshes and delights me night and day. Whether I be wakeful, fast asleep, or dreaming fondly of thee, or what has become of me, delight on overwhelming delight. Endless, indescribable thrills of divine light spray unceasingly over me. O aged nectar, wine of centuries, I found thee at last, and will taste of thy sweetness forever, forever, forever. And from the Autobiography of Yogi, this is from the chapter Materializing a Palace. And Lahiri, again, what a fabulous story this is, was there wandering in the Himalayas, and there he found Babaji. And so this reading is after he's had that very blessed experience. My son, Babaji said, embracing me, your role in this incarnation must be played on an outward stage. Prenatally blessed by many lives of lonely meditation, you must now mingle in the world of men. A deep purpose underlie the fact that you did not meet me this time until you were already a married man with modest business responsibilities. You must put aside your thought of joining our secret band in the Himalayas. Your life lies in the crowded marts, serving as an example of the ideal yogi householder. The cries of many bewildered worldly men and women have not fallen unheard on the ears of the great ones, he went on. You have been chosen to bring spiritual solace through Kriya Yoga to numerous earnest seekers. The millions who are encumbered by family ties and heavy worldly duties will take new heart from you, a householder like themselves. You must guide them to see that the highest yogic attainments are not barred to the family man. Even in the world, the yogi who faithfully discharges his responsibilities without personal motive or attachment treads the sure path of enlightenment. No, no necessity compels you to leave the world, for inwardly you have already sundered its every karmic tie. Not of this world, you must yet be in it. Many years still remain during which you must conscientiously fulfill your family, business, civic, and spiritual duties. A sweet new breath of divine hope will penetrate the arid hearts of worldly men. From your balanced life, they will understand that liberation is dependent on inner rather than outer renunciations. How remote seem my family, the office, the world, as I listen to my guru in the high Himalayan solitudes. Yet great truth rang in his words. I submissively agreed to have this blessed, to leave this blessed haven of peace. Babaji instructed me in the ancient rigid rules which govern the transmission of the yogic art from guru to disciple. Bestow the Kriya key only on qualified chelas, Babaji said. He who vows to sacrifice all in the quest of the divine is fit to unravel the final mysteries of life through the science of meditation. Angelic Guru, as you have already favored mankind by resurrecting the lost Kriya art, will you not increase the benefit by relaxing the strict requirements for discipleship? I gaze beseechingly at Babaji. I pray that you permit me to communicate Kriya to all seekers, even though at first they cannot vow themselves to complete inner renunciation. The tortured men and women of the world, pursued by the threefold suffering, need special encouragement. They may never attempt the road to freedom of Kriya initiation be withheld from them. Be it so. The divine wish has been expressed through you. With these simple words, the merciful Guru banished the vigorous safeguards that for ages had hidden Kriya Yoga from the world. Give Kriya freely to all who humbly ask for help. After a silence, Babaji added, repeat to each of your disciples this majestic promise from the Bhagavad Gita. Even a little bit of this practice of this religion will save you from dire fears and colossal sufferings. As I knelt the next morning at my Guru's feet for his farewell blessing, he sensed my deep reluctance to leave him. There is no separation for us, my beloved child. He touched my shoulder affectionately. Wherever you are, whenever you call me, I shall be with you instantly. And it's good to remember that, as we've been told, that if we utter Babaji's name, again, we'll receive an instant spiritual blessing. That's true of all of the gurus. Our job, and that's why at Ananda we're always emphasizing being awake and ready, is throughout the day, to the extent that we can, humbly to do what we can to be awake. And yet at the same time, when we fall asleep, even if it's hours a day, in the morning, we affirm, this day I'm going to remain awake. And then at the end of work, we go, oh my God, what happened? And we got completely caught up in all of the duties. That is not a time to lament our lot. That's a time rather to be grateful that we've surfaced again. That's why I like to use the image of the washing machine. In the agitation cycle, that's where we are, with the lid closed half the time. And then somehow, through the grace of God and effort, through self-effort, the lid pops, and in the soap suds and all, we kind of clear things away and say, okay, now I remember, because that's all it's about. It's just remembering. And so our job during these very, very holy times in this instance, Lahiri's birthday, Mahasamadhi, is to do what we can to dive deep in this vibration, in the vibration of this great yoga avatar, and pray to him, please. I'm making every effort. And you know my life. He was a householder. He could appreciate all the responsibilities. He had kids, all of that. He was, working 30 years, as an accountant there at the government office. He knows intimately, not to mention he's omnipresent and within our own hearts. Please help me, because life is slipping by. It's going by quickly. And I need to go deeper and deeper. As Swami said, as real important counsel to all of us, keep this in mind in order to accelerate our spiritual growth. Go deep in meditation and remember that God is the doer. And so for us, it's very important to keep our life simplified, because otherwise the Maya is very, very, very keen on constantly keeping us in this state of agitation, constantly complicating our lives. Whereas all we have to remember is the heart has to stay open, the mind needs to stay positive. When we were in the States for 4 months, it's a long time for us, and we were missing you very much. There were many instances where there were, all kinds of challenges and obstacles. And so it was a very, very good opportunity to just come back here. That's the joy of beginning to taste of our mini omnipresence. We would just come back here, be in the temple with the gurus, with you all, and spend time deep in this vibration. Because as much fun as it was to be in New York with our daughter and so forth, it's not exactly this vibration. And so you have to be, again, as we know, in our workplace, wherever we find ourselves, we have to be mindful that the inner environment where the gurus dwell is all important. And when we find ourselves in these challenging situations, then we are very mindful that this isn't the full reality. As a matter of fact, there's no reality in this dream at all, but still, we have to appreciate where we are on a human level. We have to deal with things as they are, both inwardly and outwardly. And we have to humbly ask for the Guru's help, because they are at our beck and call. You can't have anyone closer than in your own heart. It's just impossible. And I'm sure they wonder many a time, they're going through all of these troubles. They're suffering needlessly. Why don't they just say, could you give me a help? Many times, I'm sure we all have experienced this. I certainly have. When I wake up from whatever the challenge is of the moment and say, just hold on to the feet of the Guru. That's all. You don't have to even think. And the next thing you know, because the consciousness lifts, of course, because we're keeping the company of the saints, then we think, well, what was my trouble? One of my favorite stories is of Roma's two sisters having a battle, and they're both stubborn, as we all are. As Master said, I attract stubborn people, and they're stubborn too. And so they had a battle that lasted, some good amount of time. You can ask Roma afterwards, because maybe I don't have the facts straight, but I think, a month and a half, maybe it was a year and a half. I have no idea. But finally, one had the courage and the heart to call the other. And guess what? They couldn't remember what they were fighting about. I thought, that's a very good lesson. Because when our consciousness drops, we think that's reality. That's all. I'll never get out of this. And when will I be able to have this unbroken bliss and all the things? And yet at the same time, it's just that we've gone down the elevator shaft. We're in the basement. So rather than trying to figure out from that state of consciousness where there really isn't any solution, we're just surviving. Rather think in terms of, first, let's keep our priorities straight. First, let's lift consciousness. Then once the consciousness is lifted, then we'll have the experience like the two sisters. Now, what were we fighting about? What were the troubles? They disappear. Because when the consciousness lifts, it's really like being on the top of the mountain. We're not in the brush. We're at the top of the mountain, and there we can see. the lakes and the beautiful vistas, and we can see now this is where I need to go to the next peak, whatever it might be. And so for us, with the very auspicious times that we have throughout the year, I mean, again, it's so much fun here in India, because every time I turn around, there's another festival. And I think to myself, does anybody get any work done? And yet at the same time, India, the greatest economy in the world, as far as I know, etc. I guess there is some work being done, of course. But what charges that work? It's consciousness. And all of these festivals, far from a diversion, that's the last thing that's happening. It's lifting consciousness so that the intuition is brighter. One understands, one's role in life. One becomes more accepting of oneself and of others, all of these things. And that's why India has so much power. And it's why when we were in the States for 4 months, we were also quite a lot here. Sometimes we think, are we roaming the streets of New York, or are we back here in India? Because we had that need. As oftentimes I think we've all found that when we're in a period that is very, very demanding, and it's not just today, it's weeks. It can even be during the holidays, and it's just event after event, whatever it might be. There comes those times when we think, oh my gosh, I'm just getting drunk, with activity and drunk with all of the pulls, on my time. That's the time to, again, Krishna is mischievous, we can be mischievous. Many times I found in group situations that you can kind of sneak away a little bit. Maybe read a book, maybe meditate a little bit. One very extreme example was when Swami was in Italy. And when you're invited out to dinner in Italy, this isn't an hour and a half affair. This goes on and on, many, many, many courses. It can be hours. And so here he was with a lot of people there. And all of a sudden, his companion, Prahlad was his name, saw that Swami had disappeared. And he didn't just, go and refresh himself for a few minutes. He was gone for 35 minutes. And there was that empty chair right beside him. And Prahlad became very curious when Swami came back. He said, where were you? He said, well, actually, I was meditating, because when I get home, I'm going to be so full and so sleepy that I'm not going to be able to do justice to my meditation. So he just disappeared. And so I thought, wow, if he can pull that off, that was a long time in a group situation. Where did he go? Perhaps the host and hostess were concerned, but his priority was to lift consciousness. And so perhaps he was thinking, when you're with people, Master's counsel, when you're with people, be with them wholeheartedly. When you're with God, be with God wholeheartedly. Maybe he was feeling at that time that I can't really be with this group as I want to be. Let me go and take a dip into the infinite and come back. And then I'll be, in a position, in a higher state to really give what we all want to give when we are with one another. How many times do we heal each other at a glance just by spending time in satsang? So Lahiri Mahashaya, his life was just extraordinary. When you read the autobiography of a yogi and think that he was present when Mataji had grasped the thought from Babaji that he was going to leave, and so she was alarmed and called a meeting. Quite a meeting. And there came Babaji, and there came Lahiri, there was Mataji and Ram Gopal. And she said, please, I've caught your thought that you're going to be leaving. And this was a big deal, to say the least. He was leaving this world. He had spent enough time here. He wanted to go and merge into the infinite. And she said, please, stay with us. And he said, and Babaji says, well, what does it matter? She, with quick wit, said, if it doesn't matter, why don't you stay? So he said, okay. And the promise wasn't, I'll stay for another 50 years or something. So basically, I'll stay, for days and nights of Brahma, quite a commitment. And so Lahiri was there present at that very, very auspicious time where Babaji said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So be it. And so these great ones, the commitment that they have, we can't measure at this point, at this stage of our development, but it's a commitment, as Master said, I'll come back a trillion times, even if there's one stray brother or sister at the wayside, yearning for encouragement, yearning for some hand that will take theirs and take them back into a state of wakefulness. And so spend time in the next couple of days, especially drinking in the vibration of Lahiri Mahashaya. Read from the autobiography of Yogi, the stories there, materializing a palace after Lahiri had that extraordinary experience where he was in Samadhi for 5 days after Babaji had touched him and so forth. Then he went to visit some friends, and Babaji had said, anytime you want, as we read, want me, I'll come. And so he said, come, because he wanted to share with his friends the miracle that he could call on his great guru and the guru would come. And what did Babaji say? Let me go. You're calling me for a trifle. He said, please, my friends are here. I'm kind of in a spot. So Babaji, again, that human aspect, said, okay, I don't want to do, I don't want, again, you've made this commitment, your friends are there. And when Babaji emerged, of course, his friends were astonished because this was a true miracle. But then Babaji said, next time to Lahiri, call me when you need me. Don't just call any old time, because that's, you've done that once. I'm not going to fall for that again. And so these masters, when we think of, and it really saved me many years ago, being half Catholic and half Jewish, this was a little tough for me to try to put the two together. And it was difficult for me to even read the Bible in those early years at Ananda. And Christ, of course, is so important on this path. But what saved me was Swami at one point simply saying, when you read the Bible, then be thinking in terms of Christ being an avatar of joy. That was it for me. Then I could read any stanza in the Bible, whether he was chasing out the money changers or the loaves and fishes, that he was joy for some reason that had eluded me. And so it is that these great ones, that's their consciousness. That's who we are. It's where we're going as we continue to evolve spiritually into that state of unbroken bliss. And so it's why these great ones are so important, because if we were on our own, I don't know if we'd ever get out of here. But when you've got these examples, these blissful avatars, these great masters that are shining before us saying, come, you can have what I have. You have it now. You're not awakened to that, but you have it now. Through Kriya, through Seva, through so many means, you can have it now. Go after it. And so spend time during this very auspicious time, because this is real. You want to think about reality? This is real. The power of these times, whether it be Christmas, celebrating the birth of Christ, whatever it might be. And again, these powerful times are sprinkled throughout the year. Then take advantage of this and pray to these great ones and say, please, take me to another level. Help me to go deeper in my meditation. Help me in my seva, that I can appreciate and experience that you are the one who's doing everything, not me. And it gives us the growing appetite and the growing enthusiasm to stay in tune. Okay, we'll have our Rati. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Invite those of you who feel so inclined to come up to the altar to receive the touch of light from the Masters. And as you approach, offer a prayer of gratitude to the infinite Christ, in whose love our line of Masters have descended, that we might all come to God. Pray too for the grace to share with all as you have received, for you are a part of all that is. May the light of the great Masters and Lahiri Mahashaya shine upon you.
Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen to my soul song, listen to my heart's song. Listen to my soul song, listen to my heart's song. In secret in my soul, I will gather blossoms for thee, dipping them in devotion. I will lay them at thy feet, dipping them in devotion. I will lay them at thy feet. Listen to my soul song, listen to my heart's song. Listen to my soul song, listen to
Master's blessings. Master bless you. Now let's close with the healing prayer. And visualize everybody that you know who is in need of healing energy in their bodies, their minds, their souls. See them filled with Divine Mother's loving compassion and healing power. And on this special service, in honor of Lahiri Mahashaya, see him blessing them also, filling them with God's power, God's love. And let's pray. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Thou art in souls in need everywhere. Manifest thy healing presence in these souls. Shanti, shanti. Go out with joy.